Well, probably should start with an introduction. I'm Alice. I do design operations for a team of product designers and UX researchers, and I have recently decided to embark on a series of live streams because at work, as I've been getting better and better at building what I would consider high-quality Figma components for my teammates, I've been wanting to share what I've learned, the techniques I've picked up, some best practices that myself and my teammates use when we're building and working with components, just with more people beyond our team. And thus far, I've mostly been writing and publishing that on my own personal website, sometimes very infrequently and occasionally doing a Twitter thread. But I wanted to give video a try. This is very kind of visual kind of work, so I figured having a video that I could speak over would be just a good format for sharing the stuff I want to share. So I anticipate there's going to be maybe a couple dozen of these live streams. What I'm going to be doing is creating a Figma component library from scratch. And that library will be of a tool called YNAB. If you're not familiar with it, it's one of my favorite products. It is short for You Need a Budget, so YNAB for short here. And it's basically just a very basic but powerful personal budgeting tool that's future-looking and not just aggregating all of your bank transactions to see stuff that happened in the past that you can't change. I liken it a lot to the envelope method, if that's something you're familiar with. So yeah, going to create a component library based on this interface here. And I chose YNAB for a couple of reasons. The first is I think it's going to be challenging to build. There's a lot of very dynamic things about it. We've obviously got tables here. There's these chunks of interface that you can expand. Of course, you can rearrange things. There's a lot of data entry, data management from users, so I think it'll be fun and challenging in that sense. And the second reason is that I'm very familiar with how much time and energy it takes to build and maintain a component library. I wanted to pick something that I am not going to get tired of looking at, and YNAB is definitely one of those. It's a product I love, so I think this will be fun. I guess last note before I really get into this, at the end of each of these sessions, these live building sessions, I'm going to publish this Figma file that I'm going to be working in to the community for folks to, you know, if there's like a component that I build in a way that somebody could use for their own work and they want to kind of, you know, get it in the layers and kind of pick it apart or even drag off a copy for themselves, I want to make that an option. So for this first session though, it's probably not going to be a very attractive file to download. I think I am really just going to use the next maybe hour or two to take inventory of this interface, really see, you know, get a good sense of the structure and the class names. Honestly, I want to get to know yeah, how things are named in here. I could probably, of course, come up with my own names, but, you know, YNAB is, oh, want to open up the inspector. YNAB, of course, has a product team that I am confident maintains their own component library. Oh, and I should move myself out of the way in case I reference things in the inspector. Y'all want to see. Yes, YNAB has their own product team. I am sure they maintain their own library. I expect they're doing that in Figma. Seems to be the tool of choice these days. Certainly is for me. But it's not public, right? This is not like the Lightning design system. This is not Google Material Design where there is public-facing documentation. And that's another reason why I chose YNAB. I wanted to choose something that I think, you know, I'd really have to pick apart and dissect. It wouldn't be as fun to build something that is so well documented that it kind of takes the fun out of it. So yeah, I think I'm going to be taking a lot of screenshots of this interface, leaving comments over here in Figma for my future self, for future sessions. And yeah, just really taking stock. So let's start. I mean, we can see, so okay, let me close Inspector. I first want to get like just a screenshot of, I'm going to do the whole interface there. We've kind of got, oh, interesting, failed to import. Okay, let's try that one more time. I've never had that happen before. Although I should say I hardly ever use Figma in the browser. I noticed I got better stream performance when I was not using the desktop app. There we go. I'll just drag things in. Shoot. Yeah, I usually use the desktop app, but yeah, better performance when using it in the browser for some reason. Can I import images? Gosh, you're really supposed to be able to just drag stuff in. Let's give it one more try. It's just a regular screenshot. Huh, okay, well, that's okay. Change of plans. I will collect screenshots, annotate them later, which is a bit of a bummer, but yeah, I just kind of want to examine what we've got going on over here. We've got this big navigation on the left, right? And I already demoed this a little bit. You can expand it. There's definitely a max width, right? You can't go forever. And a minimum width as well. I know that eventually this collapses down to a point where, yes, it will snap into just these icons here. So looks like on hover we get this kind of like grabby pill-shaped thing. Honestly looks like a scroll bar. Kind of misleading in that sense, but yeah, so we've got that. That is always with us. And you can see we're on this budget tab. So we've got these kind of other areas of the app that we can explore, but I just want to like pick apart this screen first. We've also got this field, this dark blue field kind of running across the top. Looks like there's only two things in it really. I've got the current month that it is and money that I need to assign. Might also be good for me to explain just a little bit about how the app works, but we can do that as we go. I think it'll become self-evident. All right, so we've got these two kind of sections, and I think, yeah, no matter where I am in the app, those persist, although it looks like reports and all accounts, a little less, they're a little shorter. This takes up a bit more space on budget. So that's fine. And then below here, kind of in the center, we've got this huge table. And I guess huge, like I'm working on a 27-inch monitor here. So maybe a larger screen size than what they maybe normally design for. I'd be interested to learn that. But these are all of my categories. These are things that need money, need to be funded, right? The idea of YNAB is that at any given moment you have X amount of liquid dollars in your checking account, in your wallet, in savings accounts, and those dollars are going to need to do different jobs, right? Some of them are going to go towards rent, if you rent. You have bills to pay, like electric bills, water bills, your internet bill. Those are, recurring monthly things that you can anticipate and generally, maybe at least for your internet, have the same amount month over month. And then there's more variable things, right? You might see some more wiggle room on things like your groceries or paying for gas or if you take public transit, reloading your fare card, all that stuff. And YNAB lets you drag these things around. Like I can even drag things between categories. Maybe I want to move transportation somewhere else. And let's see. So I guess that's something else to recognize here. Like we have, these are all kind of out-of-the-box categories that YNAB gives us, but there's an expectation that you will probably customize things. Like, for example, if I was doing this for myself, I'm in an apartment, I rent, so I would actually change the name of this. Like, I don't have a mortgage, this would just be rent, and I'd probably be very cute about it and add an emoji, because I think that helps for wayfinding, right? Immediate obligations. I might even change this category name. And so we've got this, this tooltip coming up that just lets us kind of quickly work with that text. I think, yeah, just clicking in activates that. So that's one way that this is a very editable space. Not only can we rename things, but we can move them around. Okay, and that's that. That's really it over here. We've also got these fields, and there's, once we have money in these categories, I know there's going to be some other interactivity that we get access to, but right now with everything empty, I'll just leave it there. And then there's this section on the right. This is kind of the last main panel. This kind of looks like a sort of detail view. Like, I have an element selected here. I have a row selected, and I see I've got, let me collapse these just to get a view. I've got 4 things here. Something called a target. I've got the name of the category, right? And it looks like I can edit that from here as well. Yep, that's the same interface, but our beak has moved. We've got a target. I can create a target, right? Maybe for my insurance, my renter's insurance, I know I need like $10. I've got different types of targets, so we've got this other kind of drop down here. It's call to action-ish, or more just like some helper stuff, right? Making sure I've got the information I need. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, it's totally escaping me. The name for this, it's like, it's a kind of button. It's a button group. We've got a button group here. A drop down, a button group, an input field. Right, so $10 every month, and I need it by even a certain date. Like, maybe I want to make sure if my bill is on the 20th, maybe I want to make sure I've got money in this category by the 19th, because I know that's the 20th is when my card is charged or something. So those are goals. Auto assign. So these are just buttons. It looks like it's a way for me to take quick actions without having to really type anything. So YNAB seems to be a tool that power users, unlike maybe for design tools, or I don't know. Actually, yeah, when I think about like, you know, somebody who's really expert at a tool or would be considered like a power user, I think of somebody who uses and navigates that tool primarily with their keyboard, right? They've learned all the keyboard shortcuts. They can just move super fast. But YNAB seems to be, YNAB's maybe a power user relies on these auto assign buttons. It's an assumption, not sure. Right, so I can just say like, hey, whatever I assigned last month, do it again, or give me the average, stuff like that. So it just automatically puts money into this bucket. These look like just stats, cash left over from last month, assigned from this month, so like a zoomed in view of, you know, category health perhaps. And then notes. And if I leave some notes in here, looks like I can just kind of enter, I'm trying to do a soft return, there we go. I don't have any rich text editing, but, oh, does it accept Markdown? Like if I wanted to bold something. So that doesn't display there. And the edit mode is a little bit deceiving. So, I mean, obviously if I've misspelled something, that's a giveaway that I'm editing, but also this little grabby corner is the only other visual signifier that I am now like editing this text. And where that shows up, right, is, okay, so it's not going to accept my formatting. But, right, I get a tooltip. Is how I can make that stuff show up, which is kind of handy. That way, if I just need to quickly reference my notes, oh, and it looks like if notes is empty, it's just going to return the category name. If I want to quickly reference my notes, I just need to let my cursor hang out for a moment. Great. So those are these, I guess, 4 main areas of this interface. So let's start understanding what's in here. And we'll start back at the nav. Okay. So we've got our nav. I'm going to go layer by layer here. We've got a div. So there's, the resizer gets its own div, right? This is that interactive portion that lets me drag stuff around. It's cool to know. It's got a width of, oh, and they're using rems. So that's going to be interesting too. Of course, in Figma, we are constrained to using pixels, but we'll do our best with what we got. All right, and then in the actual like contents of the sidebar here. Sorry. Just moving myself out of the way. We've got what's called sidebar contents and then sidebar bottom, and it looks like sidebar bottom is kind of reserved for, a little call to action. You know, if I wanted to gift this product, like a subscription to a friend, I could do that. I've also got this collapse sidebar, so perhaps making that functionality of showing hiding just a bit more accessible, like, because this is quite thin, this area on the right. You don't want that to be the only way to get at that. Okay, so then within this div of sidebar contents, see, this is where I would be putting screenshots in Figma and probably leaving comments, like starting to name stuff, so I don't have to commit this all to memory, but we'll try throwing screenshots in there again. All right, sidebar nav. Okay, and this is broken up as I'd expect. So we've got this top section. We've got a really big button at the top that actually, I believe, acts like a drop-down, right? Yes. So this is the name of our budget. We can start a new budget. We can open different budgets. Manage payees, display options. Oh, some customization. I don't know if I've ever even looked at that. And our account settings. So yeah, all that kind of like account information that you'd expect to see. So that's what lives there. Then we've got an unordered list with basically our navigation, right? And these are list items. They are not buttons. They are list items with links. They kind of look like buttons on hover, right? They've got that rounded corner, but I wonder if they're kind of going for like, I wonder if this is a sort of like pseudo material design thing, or just some sort of like even, gosh, like, you know, the receding elements being darker, like it looks like it's trying to be a bit tactile. You know, like I've actually pushed a button in. It is kind of like receded into this teal. Maybe that's not what they're going for at all. I'm reading into it too much. But our selected state is this like darker teal, maybe a halfway between what we're seeing here and this field, this blue, really dark blue top field. All right, great. Yeah, and these are just nav links. Okay, fantastic. And then this next one down, so this is an empty state, right? Accounts. Yeah, add accounts, empty state. Great. Cool, so that's the nav. Let's try real quick, wanna see about getting that screenshot back in here. Failed to import, what a shame. Wonder what the deal is with that. Let me try with the desktop app. I've got it open over here as well, which maybe I should turn off. I wonder if it's causing some problems, or could help the stream slightly. There we go. While that's working, I will close some of these other tabs. Image resized. My goodness. Well, maybe I shouldn't be taking the screenshots that come with the shadows. I wonder if that would help. Oh my gosh. Oh, it did all of them. Oh dear. Or maybe not, maybe just 2. Oh, and I'm starting, the lag is really starting to set in. Okay, great. I'm actually going to close the desktop app, hoping that that will make the browser a bit snappier. There's our image. Oh my. Well, this is a really good test. You know, I figured with the specs of my Mac, I would be well equipped for streaming. That might not be the case, it turns out. We're finding out. We're finding out live. I've got 8 gigabytes of memory, and I expect that might have something to do with it. I'm honestly not. In terms of, okay, let's give this a refresh. I'm not that computer savvy into, you know, what parts of the guts of the machine have to do the heavy lifting to, you know, record video and stream it somewhere else live, and then also, you know, do stuff with these browser-based tools. Okay. Great. Well, lag is still kind of bad, but at least, you know, it's workable. Great. So let's start naming some things. Come on. I love the new comments feature that lets you drag to highlight like an area, like I'm doing here. Although it seems to be kind of cranky. Let's try a small one. Yeah, that works. Okay. I'll make the comment and then maybe move it around. That seems to be the way. All right, so we've got, what was it? What was the name? Side nav. Sidebar nav menu. It's in a nav, let's see. Okay, we'll just call it sidebar, I think. Sidebar nav, I think will be easiest for me. So let's make that comment. Yeah, gosh, if this was work, I would just be furious at the performance right now. But, you know, I've got a stream going. It's understandable. But I do wish to make this better. Okay, and we won't go for super accurate dragging and drawing things around. Okay, great. We've got an unordered list here. These are nav links. Do I need to lock my image? Is it freaking out about that? It just seems like it was not wanting me to draw comments after they get to be a certain size. Nav links. Great. And then what was up top? This is just a button. Sidebar nav menu. Sidebar nav menu budget. JS sidebar nav menu user data button and review. Okay, I'm going to take some liberties here. And, you know, I recognize that maybe even what the designers call their components might not be exactly one-to-one with those class names, because that might not be workable. So You know, all I have to go, again, off of is the inspect panel. I don't have any public-facing documentation to really go off of to see how accurate my guesses are, but it's okay. Part of the fun. All right, so we'll just call this budget menu button. And that is going to persist. I'm sure that is going to be there. I wasn't paying attention when we were looking at budget reports and all accounts, but I would be surprised if it went away. Okay, great. And then we've got this empty state. Oh, you know what? Let's see what that add account thing is, because it's treated differently. So obviously it's a different size than these links here, right? And these make sense as links. Do they change the URL? They do. Like, they take you somewhere else in the application. Adding an account, though, that's taking an action. Very appropriate for a button. So within this div, yeah, there it is, button. Add account button, as we expected. And let's just, while we're in here, let's take a look. All right, rems and ems. And these are coming out as pixels, of course, but we know that they are being calculated with some sort of base value. So we've got roughly 6.5 on top and a roughly 13 on the sides, 8 and 16 for the margins. It's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a button with margins. But I don't often go inspecting too much this deeply. As a design operations person, most of my time is in Figma and not like QAing production stuff or even staging stuff, at least in my role that I have. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see 8 and 16. That's a scale that I'm familiar with and enjoy using. So we've got our empty state. So we've got one type of button here. It looks like okay, so button sidebar is a certain flavor of buttons. And then we've got, you know, this particular one is the add account button. Okay. So of all the buttons that exist, there is a kind called sidebar buttons. So let's call that out. Maybe button sidebar. And that's going to be, I think, a really fun thing to do later, is to figure out, like, you know, depending on why I think this audit is really important, can help inform whether there's like one big button component that has maybe a property called type, and under type you would find properties like or variants like sidebar or info panel or auto assign, right? Already just trying to think of some of the buttons we've seen. But maybe there's so many that handling all of those as variants within a single button is just going to be no good, not fun, bad time. So maybe we use like slash naming or frames to have multiple buttons that we could swap between, right? We could switch them. They could be separate components. So that's where I think doing these kinds of audits ahead of time pays off later. So you're not just like, oh, try something and see what happens. Because as much as we can, we like to not have to undo work or realize we went down a bad path, a not awesome path. I shouldn't say bad. Okay, great. And then we have our empty state. And I'd be curious with this empty state, like when we really get in here, like after we start to see, okay, 16 all around for the padding. That's what I'm curious about, was the padding, like, oh, and Rid from Figma Academy, just literally like an hour or two ago today, I think, or at least that's when I saw the thread, did this awesome thread about using a card as an example, how you can set up these like primitives, is what he called them, for kind of establishing spacing. And the way I've been thinking about that at work is almost like pseudo spacing tokens, right? Using components as a way to fake some standards for padding, at least. I've yet to try it with margins and space between things, right? But definitely works for padding. You could, yeah, so what I'm interested in here is if this, 16 all the way around, how much that's going to persist with different elements. So that's something we should be watching out for. Okay, and this is just called nav accounts empty state. It's its own thing, but is there a way to see, this is something, my lack of experience in the inspect panel, I would love to know how to see, where to see tokens. So it looks like we've got a bunch of color tokens in here, so I'm confident we could maybe see some stuff for spacing. Okay, bunch of colors. All this other stuff. More colors. The root. Okay, just gonna cruise through here and see if anything stands out, but it looks like all of this is getting, yeah, canceled out by other stuff later down the line. Well, I trust that is knowable information. It is just a matter of finding it, and I don't know how. So we might have to do it the old-fashioned way, where a nice person tells me where to find this, or I will do some Googling later, but we can watch out for that. Great. Okay. Before we move on from the nav, I think it could be good to get rid of this empty state. Oh, you know what? Is this a button? Hold on, actually, I want to find out. This could be, okay, love YNAB, pay it forward. I don't know, that could do, it could be an action, it could take me somewhere, I'm not sure. Got my spinny wheel, oh, which you can't see because I am in my own way again. Okay, here we are. Yeah, it's a link, referral program, okay. Great, okay, was just curious. And then it's accompanying button, yes, is indeed a button. And what's going on here? No padding, a little bit of margin. And our icons. My understanding, by the way, is that all of YNAB's icons are custom. I could be wrong. I guess they have a custom look because, here, let me close the inspector because I think it's going to freak out if I do this. Like you can see with reports here, and even budget, all of them, actually, they've got this really great look where, part of the icon is faded out. It's like duotone, right? Or multi-toned. We've got, and it creates a sense of depth, especially in this budget one, where you've got these dollars stacked up, or for all accounts, like columns of this building, I guess what would be a financial institution is supposed to be represented there. They've receded a little bit. And that was true as well in the goals. When I was setting a goal down here, yeah, you can see with those cute little pig, right? It's awesome. So I don't know, they feel custom to me. Who knows if that's true or not, but okay. Before I got distracted by the referral program, I wanted to go through with this add account process. Okay, so this is interesting to me. Let's grab a screenshot of this. And we'll just save this for later. Hopefully it takes. Awesome. Great. Just get a little organized over here. Drag it out of the way. Okay. Add an account. So since this is just for demo purposes, I'm going to do unlinked, which basically means that I am not going to hook it up to any real, you know, like my own personal bank with my own checking account stuff. I'm just going to do it manually, which means it will have no connection. It won't be able to pull in transactions automatically because I'm not establishing a connection between YNAB and that financial institution, which is one of their selling points, right? People, you know, hate generally having to manually put in every single transaction across all their credit cards, wherever they're spending money from. Doing that themselves is quite a pain. It's much better when the robots can do it for you. Okay, so we got some stuff here. We've got budget accounts. Take a screenshot of this as well. I should, yeah, be including those hover states. We've got budget accounts that you'll spend from in the near future. Mortgages and loans are accounts that have outstanding balances. Yeah, certain kinds of debt. And then tracking accounts. Hold money that you don't plan to spend soon. So longer term investments. Great. Oh, interesting. Liability, example, mortgage, and mortgage are in two different spots. Okay, well, we'll keep it simple. We'll say we've got a checking account. What type of account are you adding? Oh, that's fascinating. Let's grab another screenshot of that. This dropped, I thought this was going to be a drop menu, right? Like I would click on this and a menu of options below would open up. It's a chance for me to make a different selection than I did on the, what looked like, I guess, the prior page, but that's kind of confusing. Anyway, we'll call it checking. Let's say we have $5,000 in our checking account. Success. Okay, great. So our account has been added. This is the only confirmation I get of that. And just to confirm, I'm sure these are buttons, right? Done, add another account, all that stuff. They look like about the same size as add account over here as well. Yeah, button, button. Great, great. Okay, add transactions on the web or in our mobile app. You can also download a transaction file from your institution to use. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's been years now since I first set up YNAB, so kind of going through this process feels almost like I haven't done it before. It's just kind of alien to me. I've been using YNAB for I think almost 3 years now. It's not that long, but it feels like a long time. So the setup process, yeah, just unfamiliar, it seems. Great. So now, okay, so this is interesting. We're no longer looking at the budget. We're not in reports. We're not in all accounts. We are looking at a single account called checking that we just added. And similar to the table that we saw here, right? These are our categories. These are things we know we want to spend money on. We've also got what looks like it's about to be a table view, and I can confirm as more transactions come in, this is going to look like a table here. And we've only got one, not a transaction, it's our starting balance, right? We said that we have $5,000 in our checking account, so that is the balance we are starting with. And you probably saw when I flipped back to the budget tab, now this has changed. Grab a screenshot of that as well. So the whole thing with YNAB is it wants every dollar needs to do a job for you. So if we just know that our rent is, gosh, we'll say $2,100, and it's coming up in 2 days, we better put $2,100 in that category, because when a transaction happens, right, it'll probably come from our checking account, or let's say it's happening today, right? So we'll add a transaction. These are interesting little, maybe probably buttons, but presenting as links at least. They don't have that border around them. We've got some more buttons here. Oh, this is going to be so fun. So yeah, back to the demo. We'll say we've got a transaction happening today. Gosh, building management biz, right? That is the payee. That is who is getting paid, right? We are paying building management, and we are paying building management with money that we put in the rent bucket, the rent category for rent. Now, you could leave a memo. Memos are just notes for yourself. This is a new drop down. Oh, wow, and this super long button here. I mean, this is great, right? Like, I've got a pretty wide view. Like, none of this text is going to truncate. I could have a super long category name, and it's good. It's adopting, it looks like, the width of this column. Like, if I change this, yes, okay. That's cool. Yeah, more draggable elements too. It's not just moving those rows around in the budget, it's being able to change the look of this table setup. Anyway, you could leave a memo. It's just notes for yourself, something to search by later. But I think having the date and the payee and the category recorded is enough in this case. And we will say we were charged $2,100 for rent. That is outflow. It is flowing out of our checking account. And when we save that transaction, okay, I don't love how it's ordering these. I think it's ordering them based on whether or not the thing was cleared. Cleared means, like, is this, pending in your bank account? And it's represented by, it's really small. I'll zoom in on it. It's tiny little icon, C, with a C for cleared. So if we go back to our budget now, we can see for rent, we budgeted, we assigned $2,100, and there has been $2,100 worth of activity there. Any transactions that occur related to that category show up here, and we can click on this. Oh, and this is so fun. So really dramatic shadow on this as well. I'll go wide with the screenshot. This looks like a mini view of the table that we were just looking at in the checking account page, but I can't change the width of things. So of course text will truncate, especially for long memos, long payee names, or even if I had a really long account name. And eventually, as more transactions are in here, at least, and this is all in the context of a month. We can only look at a month at a time in this format. This will become scrollable. So just a way to see, what's going on this month, like, for gifts. If it's the month of December and you celebrate Christmas and you want to, a way to check your list. That's something I found that this modal, let's find, what are these called? There's so many names for these. Modal, all right, same brain. Class modal. And class modal has, well, maybe it's it's down here. Are we going to see? Yes, 16 all the way around except for the bottom, because we've got modal actions that just has a button, and the button has no margins this time. Wait, hold on. How do we get back? There we go. But this does 4.8. 4.8 margin. Oh, hold it on. Where did that go? Why? No, 16. Where was I seeing that? Oh my gosh. Okay, just must have gotten confused. Right on, modals. Okay, I've taken a few screenshots now. I want to get these into Figma before I get ahead of myself. So let's see. Nope, I don't want to rename it. Oh golly. Okay, this one we've taken care of. Yeah, these are ordered by time. Great. This one we've taken care of. So these 4, all right, we're going to risk it all. Do something crazy and throw 4 screenshots into Figma at once. There we go. I don't know why it was being so cranky earlier. Okay. Now, we know that this is a modal. I wonder if this sign up or add account thing was also a modal. That was sort of the next thing we did. So let's kind of go back to that step. Let's add another account and see what we get. So here we go. This looks, oh gosh. It looks like the dimensions of it look so much like it's meant for a mobile app. I wonder if, and I wonder, oh man, I really wonder, do they do mobile first? So that's something else I should, like, scope-wise, like I'm going to be starting on desktop. It's familiar to me. The teams that I've worked on have been pretty much like they prioritize desktop and desktop usage. So that's just where I'm comfy and want to start there. But I wonder if the YNAB team is mobile first, and if maybe the desktop folks are borrowing this like setup experience, right? Like, you know, you're not opening checking and savings accounts and or getting mortgages and all that stuff like on the regular. I bet most users, you know, you just do this once kind of at the beginning, and then like here or there as you know, add a new credit card or merge some savings accounts, like that happens once in a while, but you're probably not looking at this experience of adding a new account very often. I wonder if they are anticipating most users starting on the mobile app and just borrowing from that experience, because it doesn't need to be like this like full, like super custom to desktop kind of experience. Very long-winded way of saying that. So let's take a look. Widget body. Okay, something called a widget. Oh, okay, well no. And if you go up one more, class modal. So this is also a modal. This is great. But widget, account widget. I don't take issue with the word, but I find it confusing. People that I've worked with on a lot of different kinds of projects use the word widget in so many different ways, and it's just hard to do that kind of like definition switching depending on like who I'm talking to. And I also feel like it's an age thing sometimes. Older people seem to really use the word widget quite a lot. Account widget. Okay. Well, so we've got like a widget within a modal. And we've got 16 padding. Oh, and 10 for add account. Okay, so that's an interesting one. So let's get into here. So what are these big guys? This is kind of, okay, this or this. You can only select one. Maybe gigantic radio buttons of sorts. It's div with the role of a button. Okay. Which has another div, which has more divs, probably for the text, yes, and the icon, great. And I wonder how unique, okay, so I think we should call these buttons because that's the role that they have. I wonder how unique these are to this add account widget, if we're going to see them again. So let's go back to Figma. Zoom in, leave some comments here. Okay, so we've got a modal. Oh my gosh, really doesn't want me to make huge comments. Okay. Modal add account. I anticipate I'll be building some what I would call base components, like something called modal, or if we start to see language like card, I'll probably build something like that to handle padding, to handle, come on, Figma. I just want to drag this comment around. No? Okay. Let's just see if I want to test out and see if the desktop app is going to behave better. When I was testing out stream stuff yesterday, I was having way better success, way less lag when I was in Figma in the browser. And I don't know, that was surprising to me. Like, I know that the desktop app is just a wrapper for the browser. I prefer it because you get like the tiniest bit more vertical real estate. I tend to have my bookmarks open on my browser, which pushes the, the canvas area down. It just reduces that a smidge, but let's try it. We'll close that. So we'll just flip between desktops here. Well, while that's loading, I'm also curious about these horizontal bars between or. In the design system at work right now, we've got a component that is set up with a line with a stroke that ends up sitting on the border of pixels that creates some weird stuff that it's kind of annoying. Okay, so we've got a div with a span for the text, and that probably, yeah, it has some padding. So what's this guy? We've got line length, border bottom. Awesome. And I wonder how much this will come up. This separator text div. But yeah, it was just interesting to see how they did this because, yeah, we've got a problematic component at work with how it's set up in Figma. I wonder if it would be appropriate. Border bottom, 1 pixel. And the border does get picked up, right? I was going to ask, like, I wonder if it'd be appropriate to do a 0 frame kind of hack with that, but yeah, you can really tell that my machine is struggling here because we've only got a few screenshots in this file, and then I've got some stuff for like YouTube thumbnails or whatever hanging out on this page, but like that file took a ridiculous amount of time to open. So there we go. All right, back to the desktop app. Hey, there we go. This is great. Okay, should have done desktop all along. Should have trusted. All right, so we've got a separator. Oh goodness, separator text div. Try to get the spelling right. Okay, and then we've got these. We decided these are buttons, right? These are button add account maybe. Oh, and we've seen this before as well. Let's find out what it's called, right? We saw this, this kind of like a little helper message when we were creating a target. Class account widget help box. Okay, let's call it a help box, and I'm seeing 16 all around again. This is awesome. Okay, help box. Great. I also see that being a base component too, where it's going to have a swapper inside. Its job is literally just going to be, I mean, geez, it could almost be, if everything ends up being 16 pixels, or even if there's a few variants on that, where it's like we saw with 16 all around except for the bottom, we could have a property that handles color, and a property that handles like the padding, 16 all around, 16 on 3 sides, whatever. They'd all have swappers in them, and you could then give them more like not realistic, like more higher fidelity in like the job that they have as you swap information in. We'll see if that makes sense. I don't know. I wonder if they all want to be dependent on that. We will decide. Great. Okay, so that was that screen. We've also got these success messages, so we're going to add another unlinked account. Let's do, let me get out of Inspector. Let's do a savings account this time. We've got our checking account. Let's say we've got a single savings account. Actually, no. I bet most people have multiple savings. Who knows? We're going to have multiple savings accounts. Let's say we've got savings general, right? And our current account balance is $7,500. Okay. Oh, shoot. I wanted to get those inputs. So let's add another account. And I also want to get that success message screen. Let's do a second savings account. We're going to call it, this is our emergency account. And maybe we are only just starting to fund it. Maybe we've only got $800. Now let's take a look at these inputs. Form field, field with error. Okay. Wow, you know, okay, I want to zoom in on this. This is such a tight space between the label and the input, like barely any room. 1.4 rem, I guess, is what I've been seeing for spacing rules, but maybe like M for the type size. Well, let's check font weight. No, rem for font size as well. Okay, I'm getting distracted. What else have we got? We've got, for the input itself, that's kind of a thick border. It looks like 1.25. Comes out to, I guess, 2 pixels. Yeah. And then for the text within it, .875. Cool. And we've got a couple different so this confusing the interface again. I've not taken a critical eye to YNAB yet. So any criticism I mean, definitely with love. Know that it's coming from a place of love. This is a fantastic product, but this, yeah, it's really boggling my mind. So I'm going to even close out of the inspector so we can really look at this. Like, I've got, oh man, wow, and back is literally just go back to the last thing I was looking at. So this feels, and the nature of like the action I'm taking, like adding an account and the visual presentation, it feels like some sort of very brief onboarding experience, right? Like this is, I've got a modal, like I can't take action anywhere else on the site. I can't do stuff on my budget or with targets on my budget, categories. Apologies, I've got a cat visiting me. You know, I'm locked in to this view, which is great. So, but that's what makes it feel like that to me. And so unlinked, great. I've progressed, right? We've changed to the next step, and this chevron maybe is doing all of the work, but it kind of implies like I don't have pagination to validate it, but it implies like I've moved forward. I've gone on to a second screen. And so when I select an account and I say savings, especially with this like this triangle here, I mean, not facing down, I would expect it to face down and then have that be a drop down, but even having it face like sideways like that, like and the rest of the presentation, I'm expecting a drop down. But then I get taken to this a new page where if I go back, I'm back here. I'm not back at, I would have expected back to take me here. Anyway, musings. So what are we doing? We're setting up, right, we haven't yet progressed all the way with our emergency account. We said, oh, was it $700? $800? Okay, and then we've got our success message. And I'm less concerned, I think, with, I mean, I'll just be interested to see, like, we got 16 pixels, or like, what is this? Yeah, what is this space? Might be doubling up. 16 here, but then the margin is auto. Does it have like a max width or something? Yeah, all good. I won't worry about it. Cool, so 16 everywhere but the bottom. So let's get those additional screenshots in. Oh, shoot. Keep having to move my stuff around. Is this the one I want? It is. So, oh, rats. I should have inspected on that weird selector. Okay, we are going to close our emergency account and add it one more time. Delete account. I'm able to just delete it without any warning because I haven't assigned any of the dollars in it to any categories. So YNAB won't be angry with me. They're not angry, but it's not going to give me any hassle about that. So, and I'm not even going to fill this out because I want to protect myself from advancing too quickly. So I want to inspect on, yeah, this is a button, but it's, oh man, it's tricky. It's really presenting itself like some sort of drop list. Gosh. I mean, we will design it to spec, right? That's what we would do. This is what is in production. We want the design system to accurately reflect that so we can then improve it. Yeah, and you know, for the purpose, like this is just to have fun, but I am gonna, I think, build it as it is. I'm not going to say like, oh, it should be like this. I'm not gonna switch to product designer mode. Get out of here, kitty. And start making improvements. So this is a form field with a button in it. These are form fields with inputs. So let's document that. gosh, it's really slow to zoom in. And I don't use a trackpad. I have a mouse with a trackball, and so I have to get that, like, you know, pinch zoom gesture. I've had to map a couple buttons to do that. So I hold down a button and then I use a scroll wheel to like zoom in and out, but it seems slow to like recognize that that's what I'm trying to do. And it was just trying to, you know, scroll on the y-axis on the canvas instead. Okay, so these are inputs, but this is a button. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, there we go. This is a button. Great. And are these buttons? Widget header. That's cool. That's a really big hit area, as it should be. All right, into the body. Yeah, these are buttons. Widget list button. And they have very generous, like the size is very generous. Yeah, 16, once again, 16 all around. Love to see it. Okay, yeah, let's definitely write that down. Do I have those captured yet? Yeah, this is a list button. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my my setup sorted out. It's not a very comfortable way to work, and when this file gets to be even medium size, I can't imagine how laggy it will be. I have a wired connection between my laptop and my modem, so I doubt it's that, but it could be. Okay. I distracted myself with my stream quality issues and the lag here. These are list buttons. So this is button, oh my gosh, Figma. Button list. Great. All right. We should probably capture what these little guys are. I mean, I guess they would probably just be regular buttons, I'm assuming. Come on. Button primary, polar right, disabled. Okay, great. So that seems to be our main button. Button primary. And that would make me think that, okay, and let's get the emergency savings back in action so we can get our success message. And then add another account here. My guess is secondary. Yes. Come on. There we go. Button, Y button. Oh. That's so weird. What is a Y button? Yeah. Inherits button, which looks like it's all this, and then this as well. Okay. I might This might be another area where I do what I want. Button, Y button? Maybe better off as secondary until we understand what Y button means. Great. Okay. Man. So we've been live for about an hour and 12 minutes, and I think we've done a lot, but there's still so much to go. So, all right, let's close out of that. No, kitty. Or you can hang out, but you must be nice. No yelling or sneezing. Out of here. Okay. So, yeah, we've spent all of our time over here in this left nav. Maybe we can check out this space next. Seems to be the next most comparable in size, like in terms of like how much stuff is going on. Thankfully, there's no empty states or things like that we, oh, you know what? Oh my gosh. Wait, we can't leave the nav just yet, y'all. I just realized like we got rid of our empty states. I want to, now that we have some accounts in here under budget, I want to like see what's going on. So we've got our resizer, we've got the left nav, not the sidebar bottom, we want the sidebar contents. So we'll throw that open. One by one, we're gonna get there. And in our unordered list, nope, apologies, not our unordered list. Oh, this guy. Hi. Sorry, I was dealing with a cat who needs some attention. Okay, so these are links. Class, nav account row. Okay, so let's take a quick screenshot of that. Come over here. All right, so we've got, these are links, and how about, yeah, this is a div, account block. Oh, and this is a button. User data. Oh, what's this little guy? Icon? I see no icon. Secret icon. That's cool. Oh my gosh, kitty. All right. I was inspecting that, what looks like to me an accordion. Account name, user data, collapse, budget. So it's a button. ARIA label, collapse budget. So, right. I guess call it a collapse. A collapse button. This is a button. Let's go. I really got to get this sorted out for the next stream. This is good. This is a great test. Always good to be learning. Okay, button collapse button. Great. Okay. Wow. Probably 5 minutes to capture that. It's you know, it's one thing to just like speed along and do it, especially when you're not streaming and your tools are lagging. But to speak over it and like, you know, think through and speak through what you're doing as well is also interesting, an interesting aspect of this. All right. Last thing I think I'll do is attempt to tackle this persistent top nav. I don't want to call it a nav, I guess. Well, let's see what they call it. Because it's not really a nav. The nav is on the left. That is how we move around. There is nothing, there's a little bit of navigation happening here. So this, yeah, opens up a calendar picker. We can toggle through years. We can select a month. So there is some navigation in here, but it's not our primary way of navigating. A header. This whole thing is called a header. Gosh darn it. I'm like 2 or 3 clicks ahead of Figma, which means like I have to slow down to match what it can read from me. Okay. This is a header. And what is inside header? We've got the header calendar. Oh wow, which takes up more space than I thought it would. I kind of want to capture that. Let's get out of comment mode so we can drag stuff around. I don't think I'll mark this up. I think that's just a good visual to have. So then within here, within the calendar, okay, these are buttons. And this is a button with class name of budget header calendar previous. And then of course there's another one for next. Budget header calendar date. And it is a div that contains, so this whole thing is a button. As is this, as is enter note, which makes sense. We're performing, I guess, an action, but yeah, what does that look like? If I say enter note, okay, this is not where I type, but it gives me another one of these little fields. We saw this as well for categories. So that's cool. Okay, let's back it up. This is a div that has 2 buttons in it. And we've got the calendar date and calendar note. Come on, I just want to zoom. I don't want to scroll. Trying to zoom. There we go. Okay. Calendar date button. And this is a button too. Let me make a comment. Calendar note. All right, we'll bring in that screenshot that we took. Drag this off to the side as well. Wonderful. Oh, and the icons. These are icon buttons. Oh my gosh. Great. Okay. Does that capture all that can be done in here? I'm gonna press OK. So I know that with the YNAB only lets you, just if anybody's curious, this doesn't really matter for our component library, but YNAB only lets you advance 1 month ahead of whatever month, gosh, how do I describe this? I have no money assigned in the month of April. I only have money assigned in the month of March, which means I can go forward or backward by 1 month for March. I also, you can see I can't go to January. So yeah, you can only advance or recede 1 month of where you have money. So if I put some money into April, then I'd be able to go on to May. It's just an interesting choice they made in terms of like what's available to you. Okay, but you can view any year you want. Oh yeah, let's check out. Let's just look at this little calendar guy. YNAB calendar. Another modal. Okay, this is where it starts. Modal with the role of a dialogue. Oh, do I have a screenshot of this? Don't think so. Let's put the new stuff at the top to make this a bit easier. So this is also a modal. And in our modal, we have what I expect are list items that have, I wasn't expecting list items, but we have buttons, icon buttons, 24 by 24. And I'm also expecting the abbreviated or shortened dates below, also in a list. Also interesting that they did 4 months. They broke them into groups of 4. So we've got January through April, May through August, September through December, and not like quarters. Oh, all right, and these are just list items. Month picker item is disabled, but if we get something that's enabled, like February, yeah, it's just a list item. Okay. We'll want these to be components, of course. So we'll call this, I guess, month item. That seems to be a really suitable name. And this is great, this screenshot, because we've got, you know, all these different like states of ability represented here. States of ability and, oh, but not interactive state. Like when, yeah, when you hover, okay, this would be a better screenshot that really captures the interactive range. Like we're missing a hover state here. There we go. Gosh darn it. Okay. So these are, oh, and I've forgotten again, month items. These are not going to show up anywhere else. So month item. And now we've got our hover state, or I'm sorry, our hover state here, our unavailable, inactive, disabled state, our active state that shows us like this is what is currently selected, this is where we are, which is also, oh, that's not necessarily true, because you could be looking at April. Yeah, check it out. We could be looking at April, that's going to get highlighted in blue, but that dot is the signifier for like, hey, this is the true current month. Like just because you navigated to April doesn't mean it's April right now in real life. So this is another good screenshot to take because I wouldn't have known that that dot is blue. So let's swap those out. Let's move this to here. Delete that. Scoot that over. Great, great. Okay. And just out of curiosity, are we seeing, nope, I don't want that. Are we seeing 16 by 16 all around stuff? Bring me back. Yeah, this guy, month picker view. Or our unordered lists here. What's the deal? Why can't I see where our, there we go. Oh, okay, 4.8 and 10. Another one, okay. Interesting. All right, cool. So we've done that. We've captured the note, leaving notes. Let's do this ready to assign guy, which is also going to have a dialogue. It doesn't look like it, but I don't know if we've seen it yet. Come on, let me select this, please. Wow. I guess we have to close that. There, that's all I wanted. Okay. Budget header item. Budget header totals. Okay. Class to be budgeted. To be budgeted or budget header totals. Both of those names. I'm almost inclined to go with ready to assign, like the language that shows up in the interface. I feel like that's going to be the most clear. So I'm going to, once again, deviate from class names. Let me draw this box. Let me draw the box. Okay. Ready to assign, and is it a button? It's a div that contains some buttons. Let's just call it a box. Ready to assign box. Why not? Can always change it. Maybe it's a card. Okay. Yeah, and then let's look at this. So then we've got the this, okay, event, that's interesting. So this button contains some divs that tell us what is the amount. Yeah, this is a hidden icon. They'll show up on hover. Yeah. And clicking on that will open up another modal for us. I'm just struggling on like what to call this, because this whole thing's a button, and I guess we've got like kind of two labels, sort of, because we've got the to be budgeted amount, and then we've got the actual label, like the text ready to assign. So I don't know if in Figma, this is like something where I don't know if I would, like in Figma, call this a button, but it absolutely makes sense here to semantically use the button tag. It also helps in Figma to be as close as you can to what's going on, you know, with what the engineering team is going to build. So let's have a think on this. This is a button. Let's call it a button. Button to be assigned. Right, yeah, that's kind of cool, because then we've got the ready to assign box, and then we've got our to be assigned button, and then we've got another button when there is money to assign. And I guess we should take a screenshot here, because our original screenshot is from when we had kind of nothing going on in here. So then we've got the, yeah, what are they calling this? Auto assign. Okay, great. That's easy. The auto assign button. Auto assign button. And when that gets opened, yes, we get a modal, oh my gosh, that has tabs in it. Fascinating. Okay, this is definitely, this inventory page is going to need a cleanup, but we can do that later. So we've got our inputs again. Ha! Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier with when we were adding an account. This little triangle is pointing downward. It is, and as expected, it is behaving like a drop-down. I click it, I get a menu of things to choose from below that I can scroll within. It doesn't take me to some other page. So that was the confusion earlier. This is the expected behavior that I was not getting. Wow, cool. This is amazing too, because now we've got like a drop-down on a drop-down that opens a drop-down. So let's get a screenshot of all of that. I think that's going to be really handy as we figure out positioning, right? When we get to the prototyping part of this, like where things show up over top each other. Okay, and I also want a screenshot of this auto one. And this is totally recycled from, I'm recognizing, when you are looking at a category and you've got auto assign. Yeah. Are these like, yes, this is the same information. It's just instead of, like in this case, we are in the context of a category, but in this case, it is the entire month of March across our entire budget. So this is like a one-click, like set me up for March, distribute my money, like do it based on what I've done before. I've actually not used this personally, but really handy for folks who are trying to speed through this, I would think. Don't want to punch a bunch of numbers in. That's cool. All right, and these are buttons. So this group, since these are both, like, we've got repeats of like these groups of buttons, but not a button group proper, this should absolutely, like this set of things should be a component, I think. Budget inspector button. Oh, that's such a specific name. Cool. Did we get that screenshot in here? I don't think we did. Is this it? It is. Put that side by side. Oh my gosh. Just zoom in, just zoom in. Wow, it's like a delay of 3 seconds. That's horrendous. Okay, these are budget inspector buttons. And let's, while we're in here, we've got sections. Okay, no. Take me back. Modal content, money controls. Yeah, so this whole thing. Oh, and are we gonna see it again, 16? I'm just looking. Great, yeah. And then we'll have a swapper. Budget breakdown, assign money controls. Such a specific class name. I was expecting something like tabs. I would call them tabs. I think this is like, do they inherit something called tabs? I don't know if we see this anywhere else in the interface. So like, I would get it, why it's just so ultra specific. I'm calling them tabs though. Tabs, cool. Okay. And this is not all of it, right? Let's wrap it up. There's one more piece to this. When we hover on the this button, the budgeted amount button, right? If we reveal this hover state, we get this info icon. And that opens this modal, which, okay, fades out the rest of the interface, which didn't happen on that assign drop down. Let's add that screenshot in. Oh, whoa. Zoom out, scooch over. Great. So much going on here. So this, I'm sure, is also a modal. And we've got another helper box, I think is what we call those. But this is a piece of interface that you don't, like, I don't see this gray. It looks like a less, is it the same? I'm wondering if it's the same gray that some of these buttons use. It looks like it's not as dark, but I know we've also got like this overlay effect happening that is making these look darker. But this is like just a breakdown, right? Yeah, ready to assign breakdown. I'm hoping to see that language in the class names. Already, I am convinced that that is what this area should be added, or named. It's all informational. There's no action to take inside this gray box. So budget breakdown to be budgeted. Yeah. I think we don't need to go super into each of these. Come on. Where's my input? Budget breakdown. Yeah, this was a new thing that they recently added to help folks understand, like, of the money that you budgeted last month, how much did you actually spend and what is getting rolled over into this month, which kind of helps you get a sense of like, you know, if you're working towards this goal of like budgeting money months and months into the future, that helps you see progress over time. Great. What have we got? This little, yeah, help box once again. Awesome. Okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think it is a different gray. I'm just comparing once again between these two. We can check when we do the color styles eventually. All right. Cool. Well, that was great. I think I learned a lot by exploring the interface in that way, and we only got to, gosh, maybe a third of this, like the budget page that we were looking at. We haven't gotten to reports, we haven't gotten to all accounts, or even really the individual account pages. There's so much more. So I thought this would maybe take like 1 or 2 streams, seeing it will take multiple, but hopefully go faster as we start to identify, you know, the same components popping up place over place, like the help box, you know? So every piece that we identify is 1 piece less that needs to get discovered. So yeah, just we'll keep at it. If you would like to join me live for future streams, you're going to have to subscribe to my channel to get those kinds of notifications. I will schedule these ahead of time, so you'll have a little bit of a heads up about when the next one is. My grand scheme over time is that, you know, hopefully there's some folks out there who find this kind of work interesting, and that they'll want to join in, ask questions, or offer up their own techniques or approaches. I'm sure that the way I'm going about this is maybe similar to how others would approach it, but probably also very different. So I think it could be, you know, really fun to do this sort of thing with a community, big or small. I think, yeah, my favorite part of my day job is when I'm getting to work in Figma with the product designers, working on components together as a team. So, you know, solo work is fun, but doing it with people is even better. Yeah, so please join if you feel like this is something you're interested in. All the streams are going to be published after the fact for folks to watch on their own time. But yeah, live experience is the only way to really get involved with the process, even have influence over it, I'll say. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.